Good day and welcome back to Unbiased Magic Reviews, the place you come to for honest and unbiased reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Parkin email Premonition by Thom Parkin. You guys may remember that a couple weeks ago I reviewed Mail Delivered, another email prediction type effect, and I told you guys at that time not to buy it. I told you to just skip it because I thought it was not practical and I thought it was suboptimal, to say the least. I was giving you guys honest feedback, which is what I always do. Today I'm happy to tell you guys that this email prediction effect, the Parkin email Premonition, or P.E.P for short, is without a doubt the best email prediction system that exists today. So today's review is going to consist of the following. I'm going to give you guys a little background about this effect. Then I'm going to go over what the effect is and the main features of it. I'm going to show you guys a live performance of my own. Then I'm going to give you my impressions. I'm going to do a head-to-head comparison of this with the closest competitor that exists. And then I'm going to answer some burning questions you guys probably have about this app. At the end of the review, I'm going to give you guys some updates about my channel, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. As usual, in the description below, you can find links to jump ahead, timestamps to whatever part of the review you want to, especially if you want to rewatch a certain part of this review. So a little history of the effect. Thom Parkin is a professional software developer and magician. You may remember I mentioned him when I reviewed the Instant Card Magician recently, which is an excellent product, and you guys should check out my review if you haven't already. But he's also a member of the Inject community. You may remember I also did a review on Greg Rostami's Inject app. Now, about 3 years ago, Thom Parkin decided he wanted to try to see if he could perform Inject as an email prediction. And that was the genesis of this web-based app. Now, over the past 3 years, this has undergone significant developmental changes, and now it is a robust standalone email prediction system. So that means that you don't need to own Inject to perform this, but if you do, well, that's just a bonus, because then you have even extra effects that are at your fingertips. So let's take a look at the different effects and what is available. And I'm going to go over the different features because I've been road testing this for over a month now and getting extremely crazy results from it. It's been a lot of fun, and there's a lot of fine details that I think are important for you to understand before I get to those important questions that you may want, or that of course you likely have on your mind. So there's two main types of effects you can perform with this email prediction system. As you can see here, this is the main interface, and you can perform either effects that are integrated with Inject, and those are over 30 different Inject effects. Some of those are also video effects, and then there are dynamic effects, which those are standalone effects that do not require Inject. Now, in terms of those Inject effects that are integrated, some of those effects are exclusive to the Parkin email Premonition, or P.E.P, and that were developed by Thom Parkin, and regular users of Inject actually don't have access to those because they're specifically for this prediction system. In terms of the dynamic effects, you will have access to 48 different email prediction effects, which is really crazy when you think about it. There's so many different options there. You'll just be like a kid in a candy shop, literally. Now let's take a look at the main features of this. So number one, this is a web-based app, so you don't need to download anything at all. You can access this on any smartphone, tablet, or computer. Any device that you have internet access, you'll be able to use this. Now you can perform this live by yourself or with an accomplice, and there are multiple ways of inputting information. You could either input it yourself, or you can use like what I like, which is I like either a remote or to have an accomplice right there with you doing it, just because it looks really clean that way. Because that is what you aim for, is cleanliness, right? The other nice feature with this is that it supports multiple emails. So it's really easy to perform this for, you know, a group of 5 or 10 people. And because the interface looks just like a regular email interface, you can actually pass your phone around to the group and let them enter their email address into it before you send out the prediction. Now, there is some text that auto-populates, and that's up to you, because that's something that you can make whatever you want it to be. In my case, you can see what mine looks like, but you can change that as well. It just makes it quicker to do the effect, obviously, when you have some text that already pops up there for you. This is super easy to use. You could see, like, this is like a no-brainer, really. And the nice thing is that when you do use an accomplice, here's the nicest thing about that, is that you have everybody take out their phones and you tell them that you're going to send them an email. Unknown to them, your accomplice is not going to their email. They're actually opening up another website, or maybe they already have it open and they didn't even realize that, right? And so you're sending out an email to everybody and you're telling them that you just want to make sure that they got it. Don't open it yet. You put your phone down, you do your presentation, and then a few minutes later, they're all going to be amazed, including your accomplice, because you predicted ahead what they all thought of, which is just crazy when you think about it. It's mind-boggling. Another nice feature that I learned from road testing this is that this actually performs like a virtual Swami. And now what I mean by that is that one time I wanted to perform this for somebody and they didn't have their phone with them, but I still wanted to perform it. So what I said to them was this. I said, look, I'm going to send you an email. What's your email address? But I'm also going to send it to myself. And the reason is because this web-based app has a feature that every email also gets sent to you. And the nice thing about that was I said, look, I'm going to send you something. This is like a prediction. And then I said, okay, I've sent it to you. Here, hold on to my phone. And then I asked them to think of something. And then, of course, I used my handy dandy remote that's in my pocket. And then I told them, here, open up my email and check it out, what I just sent to you and to me. And right there in real time, they can see that you predicted what they were going to think of before they thought of it. And the kicker, of course, is that I told them, when you get home, check your email again so you could see it, you know. And the person, their mind is just like, what? How is that possible? It just blows their mind completely. So that's another nice feature that's there. Another feature I'm going to touch on is that the emails never age. And what that means is that they'll be able to forward those emails indefinitely. The image will never disappear. And I really like the idea that you could send out an email ahead of time, and then you could tell them, like, hey, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to send you an email, but don't open it until I see you. And then when they, you know, maybe they're coming over to your place or something, when they get there, then you perform the effect for them. Another way that I could see that a lot of working pros may use this is that in the beginning of your set, you send out an email to everybody. You tell them, look, I've sent you an email. It's like a prediction. Just confirm that you got it, but don't open it yet. We'll get back to it. You go through your set, do a couple of different effects, and you have some people think of some things. And then at the end of it, you say, hey, remember I sent you guys that email? Check your email. Maybe like a half an hour later, they now check it and they see that you predicted what they were going to choose through those different effects that you performed or whatnot. And so when you think about it, this is an excellent closer in that way. It's really a nice effect. Thom Parkin has offered a custom Houdini effect. So for those people that have Inject, and maybe you perform Houdini, you can have, or maybe you have your own custom Houdini effect, then Thom Parkin will also set that up for you in this. You just have to send him the images. Now, another feature is that there's a custom footer that's included. So the bottom of the email is a custom footer, and that can be whatever text you want. It can be a banner, it can be a virtual business card, whatever you want to advertise can be at the bottom of those emails that are sent to whoever you perform for. So it's a nice way of getting your name out there. You also have access to a private Facebook user group as well. So those are the main features of this, and I will touch on one other main feature because I thought it was just amazing, was that as you can see here, I'm pulling up that image again to show you guys the interface. There's something here that says email fallback, and what that is there's a list of over 10 different options that you can choose from as a fallback in case something goes wrong. You know, you're using the internet. It's possible that something could go wrong and maybe the thump doesn't go through or something like that. And then these are the different fallbacks. A couple of them that I really liked, I'm just going to touch on, were the following. The 52 on 1 card, that was kind of nice. The In My Pocket, that's a really nice out. As well as there's one that's I Knew It. But my favorite of all was the blue spinner. And the reason is because I'm sure you've also experienced that where you've opened an email, but for some reason it didn't get downloaded to the email client the right way. And when you open it, all you see is a blue spinner on your screen. So I thought that that was genius. And it just shows you how much time, how much thinking has gone behind this project by Thom Parkin. I really like that a lot. I will tell you guys that in my own performances, my own road testing of this, it has not failed for me yet. And I can't say that about the competitor because the closest competitor, I've had a lot of issues where it would fail on me. So this is really nice, and it does give you confidence to perform it because you can feel confident that it's not going to fail on you. And I think part of the reason why it is just so trustworthy is because of all of the different services that Thom Parkin is paying for to get this to work seamlessly. And we're going to go over that when I get to the questions. So I'm just going to briefly touch on a couple of additional features that are available for those people that want to pay a one-time extra fee. These are additional features that are included extra, and obviously you don't need to include this if you're not interested in that, but some working pros may be interested. There is an option where Thom Parkin will create whatever custom effect you want for a one-time cost of $30 as a development fee for that. You can also have a confabulation type effect where you're actually integrating multiple inject effects. That's available for an extra fee. There's a pro stage version for those people that perform a lot of shows and for those people that want to collect emails from large groups of people. There's that version. There's also a version where the prediction will also go to your homepage or whatever web page you want where you advertise from. That's also available for a cost. And finally, there's also an interface with Philippe Nardi's Netflix prediction effect. So those are all extra add-on effects. There's a couple other extra add-on effects which I've shown you here. Which those are extra packages. If you're interested, you could pick up one of those as well. So those are the main features of this web-based app. Let's take a look at my impromptu, spontaneous live performance of this to give you guys an idea of just how easy this is to perform. Let's take a look at it. Derek, what is your email address?
Wait a minute.
Derek, what's your email address?
One.
At yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com. All right, now listen up. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to send you an email, but here's what I want you to do. I just want you to confirm that you got it. Don't open it yet, okay?
Got the email.
Let's take a look. Let me see. Don't open it yet, though. Let me just see the confirmation.
I didn't open it.
You what?
I didn't open it.
All right, but you got it.
Yeah, it says.
Behind the scenes. All right, so you got it there. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I want you to think of a 2-digit number.
Oh, man.
All right, is there any way I can know what that is?
Yeah.
What? How's that possible?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, is there any way I could have known what 2-digit number you would think of? Not really, right?
No.
All right, what number are you thinking of?
2.
No, 2-digit number.
Yeah.
What do you mean 2?
2.
Oh, 22?
22, that's the number that you thought of, 22 then. All right, so, and there's obviously no way I can know that,
Okay, it's not though.
right? It'd be crazy if somehow I sent that to you before you even thought of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be nuts,
No.
right?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
What do you mean no?
No.
How? Check it out, let's see. Open up the email. 22.
Right there.
Well, the crazy part is this, man, is that I sent you that before you thought of it.
Yeah,
It's a little weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you realize when you send an email, you can't change it, right?
You can't change it.
So what is it? This one is not sleight of hand, so what is it?
It's sleight of mind, man.
Oh,
It's not your mind. How you know pick 22 though?
digits.
I don't
That's
know.
probably because you thought 2 digits or 2.
No, I always pick 22.
All right, so you guys took a look at my spontaneous performance of this effect, and I will tell you guys that the person who actually videotaped this did a horrible job, and it's not easy to get people to agree to let me put them on YouTube. So you have to understand that it does take some effort to be able to show you guys this, but I wanted to show you just how impossible this looks in real time and how easy it is to perform. So let's get into my impressions of this, and then we're going to get into a head-to-head comparison. So my impressions of this email prediction system is that I would rate this as 5 out of 5, giving this my highest recommendation to you guys. I believe that no other email prediction system even comes close to this. And the main reasons are this: the ease of use, the app does all the heavy lifting for you, which that's really great. Just the multiple different ways that you can perform it, where you can perform for large groups of people, the multiple ways of inputting the information. I really like how you can perform this where you send out a prediction and then you don't have to touch your phone anymore. I think that really makes it into something really workable, feasible, and impossible in the spectator's mind when they look back to it. I like how you're not restrained by time, that you could perform this at your leisure. You can send out the prediction, you can perform it when you want to. You don't have to do it immediately. You're not in that rut where you have like a couple of minutes to do it or else it's going to time out. You definitely don't want to perform something like that. So I really like the flexibility of it. I like how this is an app that's going to be continually updated. So you're always just going to be getting new effects. And of course, there's that personal touch from Thom Parkin, which is unparalleled. There is no other email prediction system that even comes close to this. So let's take a look at the closest competitor. I'm going to show you guys a head-to-head comparison. And then finally, I'm going to touch on those burning questions you probably have about this. The closest competition to this effect is Viola. And that is another magic app that has a lot of other different effects, but it includes an email prediction effect. Now, Viola is used in one of two ways. Either one, it's used as a standalone prediction system that has basically predicting a playing card and a word or a thought, or you can use it together with the architect of predictions. Those are the only two ways you can use it. Unfortunately, both ways you have to touch your phone a lot. And because of that, I think that's the first reason why it's inferior. The other reason is that you're highly limited in what you can predict. So here's a good example for you guys. If you were to use Viola and you ask the person to think of a playing card, maybe they think of the 3 of hearts, and then you ask them to think of maybe a school, and maybe they think of the Brody School of Medicine, which is located in North Carolina. And this is what you would get from Viola. You would get this image of the Brody School of Medicine with a 3 of hearts that's plastered there in the middle of it. You cannot predict a playing card through email without the other image behind it. That's unfortunate, but that's how Viola works in a standalone way. And the worst part about it is when you have them tell you the school, they actually have to enter it on your phone. So you have to ask them, think of a school. Here's my phone. We're going to open the notes. I want you to write it in there. So that really telegraphs the method, unfortunately. Now let's look at the Parkin email premonition effect and let's look at the difference. So here in the P.E.P effect, you can see that you can predict a playing card in a myriad of ways. And here's one way, which is a fortune cookie prediction, but there's a lot of different ways that you can predict it in an email. It could even just be text of the playing card in the email as well, which is really nice. So you could do that alone. You don't have to combine it with something else. In terms of if you wanted to predict a school, here in P.E.P, there's actually a diploma that you can use, and you can see how robust this looks. I mean, there's no comparison at all. Let's go over another example to show you just a really big difference here. Another example is, let's say that you have them think of a noun, a verb, and an adjective, right? So let's say that you have them think of, like in this case, we'll say that they think of a green rabbit runs, right? There's your noun, adjective, and verb, right? In Voila, this is the image you would get if you would have them enter in the notepad, a green rabbit runs. This is what you're going to get, which makes no sense at all. In comparison, you can predict that using the Parkin email premonition in any way that you want. And here's a simple example using a plain banner. Look how awesome that looks and how incredibly impossible that is. So that's just one example. It just gives you a really good idea of the differences between these, because Voila is another subscription-based service that I feel is inferior to P.E.P. People talk that there's like a one-time charge as well that you can get access to, but unfortunately, Voila, it's not a cheap one-time charge, and I've had it fail on me various times, which is why I'm telling you guys that it is inferior when you compare it to P.E.P. Now, the only other way you can use Voila as a prediction is you can use it together with the architect of predictions if you have that. And this is an example of a project that I have that can go out as an email through Voila. And that's something that you may like. I know a lot of people that have told me they really like that email prediction effect through Voila because they like to use the architect of predictions with it. Now, keep in mind that the architect of predictions is not a cheap app, so you would have to own that. And the other issue is you would have to touch your phone again, because you have to unlock your phone to use the architect of predictions. It is not designed to be used with a remote or an accomplice. So for those reasons, I'm telling you guys that P.E.P. far outperforms Voila, and I think it's in a totally different league altogether. Now let's touch on some burning questions you guys probably have about this web-based app. And then I'm going to give you some final thoughts and some updates. So the first question you probably have is, how difficult is this to perform? And I've already told you guys that it's extremely simple. There's multiple ways of performing it. And for your accomplice, if you're worried about them, you can actually pull up the interface that they have to use before you even perform, and they could have it ready to go on their phone. So it's really a no-brainer. The app does all the heavy lifting for you. If you're going to use the interface yourself, what's nice is immediately after you send the email, there's actually a button you can push that will just redirect you immediately to where you need to go, so you can enter in the information yourself. Like, let's say that you're performing this virtually for somebody. So that's kind of another nice thing that you could do. And because of that, if you think about it, you can actually, like, let's say you want to perform this virtually for somebody, right? You could tell the person, look, I'm going to send you an email, and you could send it to them on your phone, and you can place your phone there in full view. And apparently you're not doing anything, and you could use your computer, you could use your iPad, you could use whatever else you want to send the rest of the information right under the nose of the person you're performing for, and they really won't have any clue. So that's why I'm telling you guys this is super easy to use. How difficult is the setup of this web-based app? Well, if you're using Inject, then you have to set it up with Inject, and there are written instructions. There's also video instructions. It's actually really easy. It took me about 10 minutes to do it, so it wasn't a big deal, and that was creating an entire effect within Inject to use with it, because this was an effect that wasn't supported in Inject normally. It was only specifically for P.E.P, and it took me about 10 minutes to create it. If you're using an existing effect that you already have, it's literally going to take you like a minute to configure it with this web-based app. And you know, if you have any issues, you can just email Thom Parkin directly about that. Another big question you're probably going to have is, why is this a subscription-based service, and why is there this cost to it? The main reason is because there are ongoing costs to maintain this web-based app. And some of those costs, just to touch on them so you have some idea of what you're paying for, is that Thom Parkin subscribes to a service that allows you to overcome spam filters. There's image hosting, there's API access costs, which if you're into computer programming, then you know that that's like application programming interface access, which is how two apps talk to each other. There's also 3 servers that he pays for to make this a seamless system. So those are the main costs that are involved. And because they're costs that don't go away, this has to be a subscription-based service, so to speak, to keep the lights on for everyone. And I will tell you guys, this leads into the next question of how reliable is this? It has never failed for me, and it is instantaneous. Like literally a couple seconds after they tell me the information, they literally can open the email and it is there. So this is highly reliable, and that's why I think that Thom is really doing things the right way with this app. Another question you may have is, do I have to give out my email to Thom Parkin? Like, do I have to give him access to my email account? No, you don't. So you don't have to worry about that. Nobody is going to enter your email account and get personal information of yours. I'm sure there are some people that are concerned about that, but you don't have to worry about that, because essentially you're getting an email just like the people you're performing for there. I mean, this is a web-based app that's doing it all. It's totally separate from your email, but it looks like it's coming from your email, which is what makes it so clever. Other questions you may have is what languages are supported. Now, I know that it's supported for English, French, German, and I think Portuguese, but Thom Parkin, I think, has told me that this is actually supported for multiple languages. You may want to contact him to make sure it is supported in your language as well. What are the negatives of this? Really, the only negative I can really think of, if you really want to know, is probably the cost. I think some people may find that as a negative, but I would urge you to really think about that carefully, because when you price it out, it's about $10 a month. And if you're somebody who's a working pro, or if you're somebody who is into inject hardcore, or you just want an email prediction effect that is unfathomable to your spectators, then I think it's really worth it. You know, the amount of money we spend on magic products that end up in a junk drawer, really something that you have ever reliable at your fingertips, ready to go at a moment's notice, I think it really is worth it. But for a lot of people, I think that probably will be really the only negative thing. So summing up, if you're looking for an email prediction effect, then I would highly urge you to check this out. If you have Inject, then I would also highly urge you to check this out, because then you're gonna have like close to 80 different email prediction effects at your fingertips ready to go. I don't think that there's much more I could ask for from an email prediction system. Truth be told, I think that we're fortunate that Thom Parkin has decided to share this with the magic community. That really is the truth. And I think that if this is a type of effect you're interested in, I highly recommend that you guys check it out. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of updates here on my channel. And pretty much that will be it for this review. So a couple of updates is that I'm going to be putting out a top 5 review this week on one that I've been asked by so many people. I've gotten so many emails for. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because I just want to whet your appetite. But this is a top 5 review that a lot of people have asked me for, that I've been itching for. And I'm telling you guys, there's some gems in there that no one else is going to tell you about. I've also got a workers review coming up for you guys this week and some other stuff. So I only ask that you guys subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Give me a thumbs up, comment on the reviews, just because that helps motivate me to create more of these high quality analytical reviews for you guys. You could see that I take a lot of time to extensively road test this stuff that I review for you. I'm not here to sell you anything. You don't see me here trying to sell you any t-shirts or anything like that. So I'm just trying to help you guys make good, educated decisions on the magic products that you buy. Anyway, thanks so much again, guys, for tuning into my magic reviews, and I'll see you on the next one.